Welcome to the Steroids Podcast with your host, Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand. Boom! Boom! Let's get started here. The Steroids Podcast is brought to you by Ultimate Guide to Roids, 109-page ebook by Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand. Now, for the first time in bodybuilding history, you have someone with no corporate interests and no obligation to please anyone, not walking on eggshells to not offend. Ultimate Guide to Roids gives you the information, the whole truth, not a full truth and a half truth, full truth. Ultimate Guide to Roids gives you the keys to the Lamborghini, gives you the information, and lets you decide what to do with it. It's a crime this information has been suppressed this long. Now let's get on with the podcast.
Somebody sent me on Instagram. He said, Johansen says, starting to grow as hell thanks to your podcast. All in all capitals. 4 IU HGH Norditropin, 200 Tren E, 250 Sustanon, Organon, and then in all caps, daily. What do you think of that cycle, Jorge?
Well, that's going all in when we're talking about making gains.
That's all in, you think? Or it's not?
Well,
1,400 milligrams of Tren per week?
I don't think that we can possibly go any higher than that.
Yeah. I've done 1,400 milligrams of Tren per week. I was doing... I was doing 225 milligram 3cc Tren Ace injections because the Tren was 75 milligrams per milliliter, and I was doing them. I did it for about a week or 10 days. I would pre-workout inject 3 cc's of Tren. I needed to know what that would do. Tren Ace.
Oh yes, that's a fast-acting ester, and that's pretty strong to be on. I've only have experienced a little bit of what you're saying, and it was pretty intense, so I can only imagine. Now, not everybody can handle high anabolic like that one.
That's true, but some people's bodies are more tanks than others when it comes to being able to just, load them up with hormones and shit, and they're a walking pharmacy and they're still able to do it. I think you, in several areas of your life, have proved that you are one of these steroid tanks. Yes. That can pretty much just, you can pretty much handle anything and survive when it comes to anabolics, right?
Right. I like to say that, thankfully enough, I come out of these cycles without any side effects, and they're still pretty high for like an average person, but steroid cycles and dosages have to come along with your athletic performance, Yeah. So if you're someone that can handle heavy weight or intense workout routines, you're going to be someone that can handle some amount of anabolics yourself,
But this guy, Johansen, that's doing this crazy ass cycle, he sent us some pictures of his physique, and he looks like he's on this, he looks like fucking ripped. And fucking completely fucking unnatural, like he's on a bunch of bodybuilding drugs, don't you think?
Yeah, he's definitely taking those performance enhancing drugs to a good place, to taking them to the gym and to the kitchen properly, because he looks lean, and he looks big, so he probably doing it the right way. And you know that you have to keep the intensity high when you or keep. If you're going to do a maintenance period and you go back at ease again, you still have to go back and put the intensity back on high speed again. If you're using all of that, you have to put it to work. And it's amazing how the intensity never stops when you're mixing stuff that high. I mean, it's not that much roids when you think about it. It's just a few Trenbolone and the test and the growth hormone, but the few things that he's using them high. Yeah. So that's also the way that I like to do it.
Yeah, definitely the workouts. When you do that 3 cc's of Trenbolone or whatever pre-workout 2 hours or so, or I mean, you don't even have to say. And you know what? We're talking about extreme shit here, guys. This is not stuff that is regularly being done. You know, this is like really, for me, it was an extreme experiment that I did because I got to be able to walk the walk, to talk the talk to you guys on the podcast. You know, I need to know what the fuck I'm talking about because I've actually done it. I can't just be like talking to you about theory. You know, so you know, I've done this shit, and you know, the workouts, the aggression that I would have was, you know, like I was a fucking machine in the gym. I did that in Ukraine. I took the Trenbolone real high like that for about 10 days. And the other thing was that the back pumps that I would get, you know, those back pumps you get when you do like squats or deadlifts or rows and shit like that, when you're on a lot of steroids, you know, that feeling. Yeah. That it was so bad that I had to lay on the ground for 30 minutes. I'm not kidding you, 30 minutes. And I was like, almost like needed to like scream because the pain was so extreme in my back. Not that I was injured, but because the pump, it was like making my back muscles like explode. It felt like they were going to explode.
Yeah, when you're going close to failure and you're lifting heavy weight, you might experience that till you get used to handling those poundages.
Yes.
Along the way. And that's a beautiful thing about bodybuilding. When you reach that performance, if you do the right things, it's easy to maintain the strength. And you have to, as long as the cycles go a little bit higher, the plates have to go higher, and that's the way when the dosages actually get lower, when you can lift that weight more easily, and you just have the mass, and your body can maintain it. Probably we never come off completely, but still with a little bit of test and that. But giving just help to the body to maintain the mass and the strength is very important. But when what you were talking about the trend and going on, I can remember when I was training, I stopped because I knew that I should stop weight or reps because of my diet or because of the muscle. But I could have gone like forever, like till the muscle exploded. Like, it's unbelievable how you're just invincible. You have to use that the right way with nutrition and getting your rest. And if you don't know how to turn off that trend intensity, you might have yourself trouble sleeping.
So, and you don't need as much sleep on trend. It's like 5 hours a night. It's fine. You don't need more.
Exactly. You'll get that so much replenish of the ATP so soon. It's unbelievable how that drug is so potent. That's why you need to be a lot careful when you use it and be aware of your liver, because you're pushing yourself a lot that way.
And those effects, like not having to sleep and like having extra energy and shit, like that resembles stimulant effects. So you have to know that this shit's like fucking with your mind big time, okay? And the other thing is that I didn't mention this, but when I was doing that 3 cc's of Tren per day, man, my fucking blood pressure was like 160 or something like that. The top number over like 160 over 80 or something like that.
And when you go to bed and you feel your heartbeat.
Yes, in your head. You feel your heartbeat in your head.
A bad place to be.
You've had that too.
Yeah, I have felt it, but when I have been doing some stupid shit like drinking alcohol and not training and that bullshit, but only going high on anabolics, I've also had experienced it if I'm not taking the telmisartan or any kind of like a blood pressure medicine.
That. And then the other thing was that when I was on taking the trend so high like that, I was shaking constantly, and I was with this Ukrainian girl, and
like with clenbuterol.
It was similar to that because I was on too much trend. I wasn't taking clenbuterol, but I was kind of shaking like this, and we were like we were kind of like, getting to that point where it was going to be like, maybe we would be like a boyfriend, girlfriend. And, she was going, why are you always shaking? And I was like, oh, well, I'm like, excited to see you. And then she was like, I think you're on drugs. And I was like, no, I'm not on drugs. But I wasn't, but I was on an outrageous, abusive dose. It was an experiment, but I was on this, amount of steroids that was making it so that people thought What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, when you push your body to that limit, nervous system is going to show it the same way as a junkie, high on any other stimulant will show it. You're lifting weights and you're eating chicken and rice and meat and steaks, but you're also pushing your health and your nervous system. So it shows, it collapses because of the intensity is so high that it goes. And body and muscles can't keep up with this because it's 5 more times potent than testosterone with Tren, but your brain can't handle it. And you're sleeping less and you're so powerful, that's why you might be able to be probably, for example, getting like a little roid rage on Tren.
Yep.
Or just fucking the first fat girl that crosses around you.
Yeah.
Those are the effects that no one want and make the fucking TikTok boys use a SARM because SARMs are safe and I'm going to use it without pinning test because I'm scared of needles, so let's just use the SARMs. Because Trenbolone will make you fucking insane motherfucker. Well, if you use it right and only on 300 milligrams, it will make you a pro bodybuilder.
Yeah, okay, you're right, yeah.
You can go to a gram if you're experienced enough or experimenting about it. A gram of Tren is not for everybody.
Yeah,
definitely agree on that one.
And what you said, 300 milligrams, that's really the dosage where you can go to there and you're okay. And you can still be like pretty normal. But when you start to go higher than 300 milligrams per week, that's when things start to get weird.
On this comeback, I experienced that, and I only go to 300 because if not, I started feeling side effects like anxiety, where I'm not. I just can't relax and chill, have this rest metabolic state. As you are on killing every time you can Netflix and chill that long. For example, that is when I started having that side effect, I know I'm going too high. So if I keep
heart.
No, like I can relax. I'm just like
you can't relax.
Yeah,
okay,
can relax. But if I'm on 300 milligrams and I need to have like a rest day or something, I'm totally okay to just stay home. Staying home for too many days on your bed is also not a good example of physical health and performance. But if you are not able to have 2 or 3 days, or 3 days, I think it's enough to be not active. If you need to recover after, like, let's say 4 weeks of intense training and working, right?
Yeah, you don't want to be not exercising more than 3 days a week.
Exactly. But when you are on a gram of Tren, you might notice that you can't even stop for 3 days.
Okay, yeah. You never want to stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So right now I'm keeping things on a more stable dosage on this comeback because I don't want to have negative brain
side effects. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's one of the things too, is that people think like, oh, I have to be on Tren, and it's like maybe you will be on Tren, for the competition. Like, yeah, of course. But on the other times of the bodybuilding, we can find ways around it. We don't always have to use the Tren. There's other things like somebody asked this question. Let's just get to this right now. He says, Jay asks, what's your favorite compound for mass? And we were talking about D-ball. Because D-ball builds a lot of strength and mass, and you can get damn strong on this shit, which builds that fiber mass, and you don't have to use a lot, like 25, 30 milligrams per day. Exactly.
I've only used one vial of Trenbolone that I didn't even finish in this comeback. I stopped training completely. I lost everything. I was like completely fat and stuff, and I just like retake training and dieting and bodybuilding. Exactly about let's say it's been 9 months since I'm returning into training.
Mm-hmm.
But the first 6 months was completely off everything. So I was shredding a fatness of like a retired bodybuilder on absolutely nothing, not only test boosters and supplements.
Oh, really?
And dishwashing in the US till I eventually started hosting bussing tables and stuff. But it was a good place to work and a good experience overall. To get money for supplements and your gym membership and doing a little bit of bodybuilding in the US. But when I started, I was reading the typical WhatsApp list of the PEDs that your guy that has a friend sends you.
Oh yeah.
and you're having to look through the CPNA and the test and the trend, and I was looking to the growth hormone, and I was like 300, and I was looking at my paycheck and rent and all the things that I wanted to make, and I say, okay, it's time for me to go back to Ecuador, where I can get pharmaceutical grade growth hormone, and just probably, and even in this process, I met you here. You had the big. How can I say, the big will to be such a good friend and trainer that you came along the way to make a podcast. And now that we're discussing mental health, stability and good things, we don't want negative side effects, so we just got Tren out of the way, and I'm feeling very good, pretty. I like old school bodybuilding. Remember that Trenbolone was used back then, and Dianabol was
good
popular point. Because it brings up your well-being state. If you do it right and don't get liver toxic by doing it too much or mixing it with bad food, you have to keep it low on the deep fried food and get your fats from animals and butter. That's also a thing that I've been implementing in this new cycle, where I'm keeping mental health as a first priority. Also health with diet and nutrition, because you can't be the bodybuilder eating crispy rice treats and high fructose corn syrup kind of guy, because I even see some pro bodybuilders, which I don't want to say names because I'm so small still, but I will do those call outs when I'm big enough, and I'll tell you, this type of guy that has won 4 times the men's physique and he's eating rice-free treats in his car after the workout, you probably be good. I mean, you can have a treat or a cheat meal. I'm not satanizing every fucking cheat calorie. Like, I'm a normal human being too. I can have a burger or high fructose from McDonald's, like barbecue sauce, high fructose corn syrup bullshit. But I prefer to be natural, not kind of this Jeff Side, David Lake, kale drinking shake type of motherfucker, because that will fuck you up. I'm trying to keep it clean, keep it lean, keep it tight, but with good, proper food.
And the other thing we have you using
Liver
is...
King has some sense to it, but not also that TikTok bullshit. But we're
gonna leave fucking Liver King out of the Steroids podcast. He's the other thing though that you're running is testosterone. And you know, the thing is with testosterone, like we've said before, is you can get huge on testosterone and it's low, it's cheap.
I feel perfect on a gram of test. I don't feel no side effects if I'm training and I have the diet. If I'm stressed out or being pushed too much in work or family problems, on a gram of test, I feel bad and I have anxiety. But if I'm on a good place, I can do a gram and a half. It's such important for your well-being, your surroundings. That's why I think people go to Thailand and they have no side effects, because people have good community there where they are not fighting between each other. And sometimes here, a lot of people might also agree on this. That we found some angry people doing fucking crazy shit on the streets because they're tired of the system or being broke and shit. But you don't have to take it on with your fellow citizenships, partners of the world, your friends of your city are the only people that you're going to live with. And if you talk trash and do,
because we were talking about testosterone, and we're talking about the testosterone dose. You were saying that like 750 to 1,000 milligrams is that's what works. That's your favorite dose right now.
750 is also good. That's what I can handle in these conditions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because that's what we're doing. You know, when somebody's trying to do bodybuilding or they're getting ready for a show, whatever they're doing, it's not always under ideal circumstances. It's not under ideal situation. So we're making it work with Jorge's situation that he's in right now, and and one of the things that we've been talking about with that is like how to do bodybuilding and get like big on a budget. So testosterone dose, that's one of the things that is seriously important here, because it's like the cheapest injectable and it seriously works to get you big. If you guys want to be as big as like
Ramondino did it on Brazil eating He started eating eggs and rice. So he did it on Brazil. I'm trying to do it on Ecuador. I have the food. I have the anabolics. I just need to focus, and one of the hardest things about this life is you make the sacrifices. But if you do it on the first world, you can not go to parties and drink, but you have your good car, your girlfriend, and you're chilling, and you can go take a trip to Mexico to relax. But here, you spend all your money on your cycle, your roids, your stuff. You can make it to pro, but then you will, of course, eventually, till you get international, because I've tried to get sponsored here by protein powders, but can you imagine that in my whole country, as it's so small, there's only one guy that monopolizes the whole industry of protein powders. So if I messed it up, every athlete, bodybuilders can understand when I'm saying that things didn't work well with my boss and the rep selling the image of protein.
Yeah. But so you had a little bad experience there. Okay. So with the if you guys want to be going pro size like classic physique, 2,500 milligrams of testosterone per week, one vial of testosterone per week is a realistic dosage to get a guy. Not even with taking other other supplements, other steroids. You could get a guy up to classic physique, pro level competing size with just taking one vial of testosterone per week.
One vial of testosterone per week, and if you do that, you have to add some mild anabolic.
You don't. You can just that is enough right there.
So you can have every other day 1 ml shot of test.
You got to take 10 milliliters of testosterone per week, 1 10 milliliter vial.
So it's every day.
You can take 2 5 milliliter injections per week or so. But this is
you start having 2.5 mLs of test, and there's no problem.
You could do that with testosterone and natty.
Yes. You told me today that you had 500 milligram. I have, for example, 2 Primobolan, 250 milligrams of NSA. I've done it like 3 or 4 or 6 times in my life, and I was like, oh yeah, I did such a crazy thing. I injected 2 vials of testosterone today. I have my dose so much. I'm such a bad boy. I do respect like sometimes the forum and stuff because I have taken it up to like 100 milligrams of Dianabol to a shot of Tren every day, and sometimes when I come off of all the stuff, I'm like, oh my god, maybe that was too extreme, because I started hearing to these people that are like talking trash. But I have it feels like taking a pre-workout sometimes, being on just a cycle. Sometimes I wasn't mature. I mean, but that's what I was telling you. Like, for upping the dose and being on a vial of test, you have to be in a good environment. And sometimes, if you neglect some stuff in your personal life, you might have found yourself losing your car and driving the bus. And even in Vegas, when I was dishwashing, sometimes it gets too fucking hot to be on a gram of test. You might fucking die on the street. When you're a peasant and you're working to a minimum salary and try to be a bodybuilder, you struggle. And a lot of podcast listeners might have a comment on this, and I would like to hear an opinion on them if they're going through the same thing. It's just some of us. You have to be young, dumb, and stupid also to make bad decisions and not be careful enough about your budget. Sometimes we young people start having too much takeout food or too many weed or stupid bullshit, and then you try to have a girlfriend and you just outbalance yourself. And after this pandemic and inflation and bullshit, I'm trying just to make things work, And I was about to quit this because of the bad reputation. That imagine if your first world country bodybuilding has a bad reputation. Imagine in my broke ass town,
people are bodybuilding has a bad reputation.
Like you're gonna die broke.
That's okay. That's in Ecuador. That's kind of the way that society is looking at a muscle guy.
Exactly. You struggle, but we see some good personalities here. I have a friend, Tanque Army. He has give his arm to me. Many times he is the guy here of a good brand of anabolics of a Chinese lab. No, gonna say the name, of course, but I have many other friends that they train people. There's only one pro bodybuilder here of the IFBB, and he trains at my gym, and he's squatting 500 pounds. I used to squat 450 for 8 reps, and I was solid. And now, for my stupidity that I was telling you, recklessly, I was living, I injured my knee, and now I need surgery, slight surgery in the meniscus, and I think I'll be ready to lift out those bandages again, so I can get huge insanely again. Because I might, give everything I have for this dream. Even if people say that I'm not gonna make it here in Ecuador, if I have to go to Argentina, to Brazil, I'm just gonna do it. I don't want to be naked on OnlyFans trying to get the money for it. I want to be a decent trainer. I want to get back on track, because since I broke up with my girlfriend, I stopped training people online, and that's one of the things that I enjoy the most. Sharing a little bit of my experience with people, clients, trying to. And now that I have more experience, but it all comes along with you. You're the guy that keeps training me, and I learn a little bit more, so I can start sharing this a little with my people that also maybe don't know English, and I can just translate a little bit. But it's a good experience overall, learning more about with PEDs with you, and how we can go higher to a vial of test that will go happening, and we will be able to see it in the next weeks.
So you've been somebody who has maintained your interest in bodybuilding for a long time. Because when was it that you first started lifting weights? How old were you?
I was 15. I was 14 when I wanted to do them, but my father just bought me like the iron gym that you put on your door, and I was like told to do pull-ups first, because he was scared for my bones and shit. And I was
because you're growing. He didn't want to weigh you down. Okay.
I was jiu-jitsu fighter, and I was kind of good, and he didn't want to cut the dream out of me, champion black belt.
And so then you started when you were 15, and did you get a gym membership, or what did you do?
Oh, that was a funny story. I was selling Burmax fat on a bicycle in Manta, trying to buy my protein powders. I also had a little bit.
Did you have a gym membership?
I had a gym membership. I had to work there when high school was over. Sometimes to sweeping the floor, training some some clients that the owner of the gym didn't want to train. He handed them over to me, so I trained them, and I was 15. So 16, because I was a year in the gym. I had already did my first natty show at 16.
Oh, you did? That was at 16?
Yeah. I have a picture of that. If I found it, I'll come share it soon with you.
And that was because you were kind of like ripped, like when you first started?
Yeah, I was given all into jiu-jitsu, and I was competing at a young age. So when I quit, finally make the decision to quit jiu-jitsu to full-time bodybuilding, I was like, okay, I'm going to compete here too, And
nice. Yeah, so you came at it with a sportsman's mindset.
At 16, I competed with a friend that was 17 or 18. That it's a DJ now here in Ecuador, and he was on Deca and test, and I was such mesmerized, and I was like, oh my God, you're such a rebel, like doing this bad stuff. But we were competing. We were on TV. We were on the news, because it was a big event. It was Mr. Novatos of Taurus. Kevin LeBron is coming to that Taurus gym here. It's the biggest mecca here that we have in Ecuador. Taurus, good shit, good place.
So then, did you compete natural anymore, or just the one time?
No, at 16 I competed natural. Then I competed. I wasn't fully natural. I did some stupid, reckless shit with pills, like every teenager. Most of huge teenagers squatting 15 pounds, which don't lie, like fake natty. Or if you're, I'm not gonna get into that. But I did touch some muscle growth factor that was supposed to upgrade your IGF on your body, and was supposed to be like a mild deca, but still was an oral, and it was supposed to be not steroid, but it was a dirty supplement. You know what?
Dirty supplement, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I did it for like 4 weeks. I did it again, and I competed. But the times when I competed. Oh, now that I remember, on that day of the contest, I went to a friend's house, and he gave me a shot on the leg and on the shoulder, and I think it was Winsroll and test, but I only had one shot that day, and then
the day of the show.
When I was 16, and my shoulder hurt like a motherfucker. I couldn't even flex. I was battling my shoulder pain in the contest. The hardest thing for me was the shoulder pain.
While you were posing.
And imagine being so dumb and so young that you're scared doing a cycle for the contest, and then you just do a shot like the night before the contest. That's how my mind worked.
Yeah, because you were like, oh shit, it's before the contest. Like you better get like the last advantage or something, right? And then it kind of blew up in your face.
We're exposing probably how a fake natty thinks, because that's how you get guy on the contest day, like an Ulises guy.
Oh shit, yeah.
So hear me out. My friend that he gave me that shots, he's in jail now. I hope he gets out soon.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then, so then you competed natural, but then you decided you were going to start taking steroids. And, what that was because didn't you get second place at the natural competition? So you're like, okay, fuck this or something?
Yeah, 19 years old at Mr. Guayaquil's. Things are getting more serious now. I'm in college. I'm a trainer right now for real to get my supplements and my diet, my salmon,
This is at 19.
19.
Doing the natural competition?
Yeah, but yeah. Remember half natty bullshit? I only did the pills when I was 16, 17, and there's 18 and 19 only on test boosters.
No injections yet?
No. Only the one test shot at the contest when I was 16. One shot of test.
Yeah. Okay. The one shot at the contest. Yeah, that's
then
fucking nothing.
At 19, I'm on a stack of supplements of $300. Clear Muscle, Betator. I really like that. When I was a natty, it take the edge off when you're natty. Pre-workout, glutamine, all the good stuff, And I was looking good. Because, the few little enhancement that I had and the supplements and my hardcore lifestyle training, I was looking fucking good.
And you were conditioned as fuck because you were a jiu-jitsu fighter, and now you're fucking bodybuilder straight over like that.
But I still didn't have like the full size. So a guy that was with like one cycle in or 2 cycles, he had more hamstrings size. So the judges gave it to him. We did a hard round of posing routine, but at the end of the day, the judges gave it to him, and I was on test boosters, and I started throwing chairs around. Yeah, man.
You had the natty roid rage.
I'm so lucky I didn't get banned.
So that time you didn't take the steroids before the competition, right? You didn't take them. You just the test boosters.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you were okay when you took the steroids, but the next time you took the test boosters, maybe they were spiked.
Probably they were from Muscle Tech. They were test HD. I took serious my test booster cycles when I was in
if they were from Muscle Tech, I don't think they were spiked.
I took them for 3 months, bro. Even the Cellucor PM, I took it and it was
okay. Mm-hmm.
Bro, I broke my hand bone because I had a rage when I was on Cellucor PM test booster. I took it at night. You were supposed to take it on an empty stomach. That was like amphetamines when I was 18 years old. I used to look in the mirror, and some people say that doesn't work, but there's a name of that the plant of this booster, Shahidi. I don't know. There's a weird name of that. But I felt it, bro.
You felt that shit.
It can't be placebo because my skin got a lot thinner, and the way that I contracted my muscles was from test boost on the body.
Okay, yeah. So it was definitely working for your teenage body.
Yeah. Plus the clear muscle, plus the 3 scoops of protein a day. I was living like a pro bodybuilder.
But just no steroids, really.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Till I lost, and I was like, I started a cycle like 2 weeks later.
And then what was your first cycle? What did you start taking?
Testosterone, Primotestone from Bayer.
Okay, so pharmaceutical grade testosterone.
Yeah.
How much per week?
I started with only one bottle.
One ampule per week.
The first 2 weeks, and then I upped it to 2.
Okay, so 250 milligrams per week, and then you upped it to 500 milligrams per week. And were you taking anything else with it?
Winstrol. The first month, the first 4 weeks. My cycle lasted only 3 months. My first cycle. It was test on Winstrol the first month. The second month it was test and a vial mixed with Trenbolone, Masteron, and Propionate. And the third month, to close it all, it was still the Primotestone from Bayer with a little Primobolan vial that was golden.
Primobolan.
Yeah. Remember, I've been hearing that Arnold and all of these guys were taking like stacks of vials and vials and vials. So I run the cycle, and on my last vial of Primobolan, I was thinking, would this be enough? But man, I was looking unbelievable insane after that cycle. That was the best days of my life. That's when
Your first cycle.
For the first time in my life, remember I was a natty for like 6 years, 7 years, having all this fake natty bullshit. So everybody thought I was doing roids, and I wasn't doing them. And I was sometimes
because you're talented. People thought you were.
I couldn't get drunk. I couldn't get sick because I immediately lost like 10 pounds by pushing my natural health to that state. Every natty will know what I'm talking to you about. So it got depressing at that point. So I said, why I'm suffering that much if I'm not going to commit to it? And when I finally started taking the test for like 8 weeks, it's 12 weeks. 12 weeks. So on the week 10 to 12, I was a different person. I was so full. The lines that you could see on the muscles of maturity of a person that's been training for 6 years, that's something golden. That's when you do see like that's bodybuilding. That's because it's not, you can, people that talk trash says, well, it's all steroids and supplements and you're just growth hormone and eat, or you can do a mass blast. If you do that type of shit, you might be looking like a bubble in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because good shit takes time. You're sculpting on a sculpture, man.
Yeah.
We're talking about Greek gods over here. In those times, PEDs and supplements didn't exist. And how did they sculpted that? Because they existed men like that were eating fish and steak and lifting rocks.
Yeah, and they were eating testicles too. So they were getting testosterone. They were getting fucking steroids, from eating those testicles from the bulls. So they were on a little bit of steroids. Yeah.
A little bit like oral type of that they could have get from the animal.
Yes.
That's how they got strong back then with animals, organs. Of course, there's.
Okay, so speaking of Primobolan, Jorge, have you used UGL Primobolan that was high quality?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I can say the name of the brand that I use.
You don't need to say the name, but let's just like discuss, because I kind of want to talk about UGLs and like our experiences with them. We don't have to talk about the brand names, but we'll just talk about our experiences with some of the compounds.
Okay. Well, this one was from a lab that was supposed to be good, and I got it from a good source that had already tasted, and I have already tasted their previous vial of them with the blend that had Tren, Masteron, and Propionate. So and that
cut mix.
Yeah, and it was good. It was really good. I think the Winstrol was also of them. So this was the third vial that I was going into this lab.
Now Primobolan.
Now it's Primobolan. I had tasted like 4 of their anabolics. So I had tried a fifth one, and it was a Primobolan, and it was very good because it filled me up very good. It helped maintain the 8 weeks that I had going on.
You were dieting at the time?
Yeah, I was doing a strict bodybuilding diet. Of course, getting my protein, my carbs, and the fats.
Okay, so you weren't like in a calorie restriction.
But that time I was in maintenance or gaining a little bit at a time.
And how much did you take to get an effect?
I used to I only did like 2 mLs a week to 3 mLs a week. Yeah, because it lasted only about 4 weeks, the vial.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you're doing low dose, but you got a good effect from it. So it must have been really potent Primobolan. Me, I've had potent UGL Primobolan too. So a lot of people ask me when they're doing phone calls with me, they ask me, well, I really want to run Primobolan, but I don't have a pharmaceutical grade source for it. And so that they say like, so it's hopeless, right? And I'm like, no. There's good UGL Primobolan out there. I've had that experience. My first time using Primobolan was with a UGL, but it was a UGL that was made on professional medical facilities, and so you got to look for a good UGL, and if you find a good UGL, stick with it. Like remember you were saying that you had a good experience with a few different vials of different substances from that lab, and then you tried the Primobolan and it was good.
Yep.
What about Anavar? UGL Anavar?
Yeah, UGL Anavar, I had an experience when I got up to taking to 7 to 10 pills a day to test it, and I got pretty good effects. I run it from like 5 days on a high speed because it was like a gift from the guy that was selling it to me. So I had this little box of Anavar with 50 pills, and they were some white little square pill, and they were potent. It was a lean gain tissue. It was like no side effects. I could still. I went like into a party in one of those days, and it was a good experience. I felt good, felt energy. I didn't feel no side effects by taking it at a high dose, but it worked.
Have you ever had bunk Anavar? or anavar that was like fucked up?
No, I've always I don't get that much risks into something that I know that it might be not that kind of good, because I know that I'm only gonna do a little and for a little time sometimes. So I try to get some good stuff.
So all the anavar that you've ever had has been legit. It's been high quality anavar, and it's all been UGL, right? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Because I haven't got it from the pharmacy. I haven't done anavar too many times.
Well, that's pretty good for South America, don't you think?
Yeah. Here in South America, we get good stuff.
You get good stuff, huh? Yeah. So what about? Have you ever had any bunk steroids or legit steroids, fucked up steroids?
I do know a brand that they do have some potent roids, but sometimes I notice that it could be a little bit more strong, you know.
Like one batch versus another batch?
Yeah, for example that, but or it depends. Like in some roids they're very potent, and in others they're very mild. And in other brands, they're just like all the same, you know, or they have each their own potency as they're supposed to be. And if there's a brand that they say, or for example, there's a word on the street that it used to be a lot better back then, and it got a little milder, or along the way, you know, to make more profits or something.
Yeah, once you get the name, the reputation out there. Lowering the product quality.
Yeah. So but you still can survive when it's like, for example, necessary for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You run it for a little bit, and then you go back to your other source, and you still have no side effects.
So me on the other hand, man, I've actually had a lot of bunk UGL steroids, or like weak UGL steroids.
Well, you started a long time before me, and at that time in the US it was a lot harder.
You've been using steroids for like a decade, man. About the same as me. I mean,
well, you started like 4 to.
I was older. You started at a young age.
You started 4 years before me. I think.
Okay.
Right. Probably. Well, I don't know. Man. You have to go to a good source, to the highest place you can get, because online it's pretty risky, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think if I had to say how do most people in the world get steroids? Probably online.
Yeah, that's a huge mistake. Or for example, a huge mistake people's making right now is taking SARMS that they sell them in America or somewhere else, and they take them without test, because they think that a SARM only with a PCT of a test booster is going to be good enough, but playing with your test levels and your testicles like that ain't no good.
Yeah, you know, SARMs just, you know, the one weird thing about SARMs is they have had no long-term testing, right? Because they're research chemicals, they're new drugs. So it's like with the steroids, you've got like, you know, how long have steroids been around? 80 years? And you have all this, you know, knowledge on what happens to people when they take these things. But with SARMs, it's like, here's this new chemical, buddy. There's no testing, so hope you're okay. Hope you're okay 10 years from now.
Yeah. It's a huge thing worldwide. Not only in America, like Canada, like China. They're making these SARMs. They're making propaganda for people to take them without test, and this will ruin you without test. And I don't know how these people always find the new way or the new forum. Well, this guy finds the way to finally do this without test.
I know.
And it will still crash you and fuck you up even when you drag your balls, even than the worst higher dose steroid cycle that you will think you will get side effects from. You will destroy yourself even more by using the stupid thing that you read online of how to get strong and big and lean with not paining yourself because you're scared of needles.
The next new big thing, right? To get jacked and ripped. Right, it's always the next big new thing, you know, and it's like motherfucker. You know what? The way that the golden era guys did it is the way to do it. Okay, it's been around. The way to do it has been around for a long ass time. So if you talk to anybody who's saying I got the new shit, tell him to go fuck off. You know, he got some new type of steroids. He got some new type of dieting or training and shit. No, you like the dudes who are doing it right are the dudes who are doing it the way it's always been done. You know, like don't, you know, Mr. Olympia, your hero, didn't use the new SARM or the new steroid or the new peptide, right? He used the shit that has always been being used. So for these guys, because a lot of guys that listen to the podcast, they're trying to really become a serious bodybuilder. So that's why they listen to this podcast. And for you guys that want to get big like that, it's like you need to stick to the basics, the shit that works: testosterone, Deca, D-ball, equipoise, Primobolan, Anadrol, Winstrol, Anavar, growth hormone, that's pharmaceutical grade. That's
why we're here, Dan. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm glad to be here. You're ultimate guide to roids, professor, and that's how I learned of all of those compounds and how to run them high and how to keep my diet good, because you have answered a lot of questions that I have had on how to get my carbs higher and when to put them for being able to grow. You're helping me with a simple method of the insulin protocol during workout, intra-workout. And I think on the long term, if we just found a way to make those nutrients each time healthier or leaner, with a supplement, if I can get later into that I know that I will, I need to win my contest. That's the only way that I will finally earn the sponsorship that I need to go to Brazil and Argentina, because in those places we do have some good quality around my age. So these guys are huge.
And what steroid stack are you taking right now?
Right now I'm running testosterone, Winstrol, and D-ball. But I just...
How much? And what kind?
This is from what kind?
Never mind. Because the D-ball is pills, right? And the Winstrol is injections.
Yeah, Winstrol is injections. But I just today I injected my third shot of Winstrol vial injectable, and it's very good because I tested on my triceps, because I got it from my legitimate source that I know my guy, my top G.
And you have an interesting method of injecting your triceps.
Yeah.
A
friend taught that method to me. A good bodybuilding friend told me the highest place on your tricep between your lat and tricep, there's
basically in your armpit.
I'm gonna say the word in Spanish because I don't want to get you guys to get this word wrong, and you go and translate it yourself. But the word that my trainer friend said, it was cartílago. Mm-hmm. So there's a cartílago over there where you can even inject long esters, and it will be good to just
right in the armpit.
Develop your tricep.
The tricep, right where the tricep starts in the armpit. What?
Practically, it's almost on your armpit. It's kind of crazy, but you don't be experimenting with that like a jackass. Sometimes I don't...
You got to make sure that shit's clean as fuck with alcohol.
I don't speak long enough about it.
Because talk about bacteria, bro.
One time I told a guy that I showed my triceps and that I rotate between glutes, quads, and triceps. And this guy went and injected his arm like in the bone or whatever. Like he said, okay, tricep is here. And wherever he thought the tricep was, he just stick a needle into it. And he got a lot worse over the days where that oil was in a place where it shouldn't be. I also had another client that I told him, shoot my quads. And the guy shoot the needle on a movie, seeing that he would have seen and just injected whatever he could possibly put the needle in.
He didn't even know where he just slammed the needle in?
Exactly. You have to anatomically know into the muscles. I mean, I am no surgeon and I am no doctor, but any normal, decent brain developed a good studying human being, like an applicant student, like a good student that does its homework, can learn the process. And if you can't, you can still find a good nurse or somebody. But if not, it's not that hard to learn the protocol to inject your own self and not hitting any nerve, any veins, and having no damage. Very rarely, because I know the spot, because I've done it for 4, 5, 6 years now. I don't know why, I'm not sure about the years, but I have had long stops. So very rarely I had a spot that's not good, and then I'm like, okay, I should not shoot it in there because this needle doesn't feel good or it's staining too hard. Sometimes you hit a fat, how do you call this? A fat cell, a fat deposit.
Yeah.
That will hurt like a bitch and will get purple. Purple circle, but you'll recover from that very quickly. Very rarely you can see me on the videos or the stories or whatever with a purple stain because I hit something with a needle. But if not, you will see me good. They won't get infected. I don't have acne. I'm not getting bald. You can come and check my testicles if you want.
No.
I'm not saying it to you, coach. I'm saying it to
I don't want to. I'm not doing
to
anything
whoever,
like that.
because I'm going to share this podcast to the society here in Ecuador, to the people of fitness that they want to come along the way to this game train and tune in their cycle for this 2023. If you don't want to be a low test, being sad, depression, I'm not going to say the rest, but if you don't want to be a puppet of the mainstream, and I'm also not gonna say people in charge, but this
dude. So with somebody asked a question, they said, they said, have you ever heard of someone breaking out from hives from a steroid lab? I got this new lab I've been trying, and a week later, I keep breaking out in hives. I was also sick a few days before and taking all kinds of antibiotics.
Yeah.
So this dude sent me a picture of his arm, dude, and it was like it looked like he had chicken pox or something like this,
Okay.
like his entire arm.
Okay, that's a pretty sad situation. Well, look at this, for example. I know that Deca is neurotoxic, and I've been in places where I've been mixing Deca with alcohol and bad hard drugs, and I've been vomiting and getting sick and having like a flus of a feeling of a kind of like flu symptoms, but throwing up and crazy diarrhea. I had like a stomach infection. I had like I decomposed myself in every single organ was collapsing on my body, you know. And you can get really sick on steroids if you are not healthy enough. But the thing that you could also be saying is that you could be healthy completely, don't doing any stupid shit, and you just have one shot of that thing, and you say, what the fuck is this, airplane gasoline or what the fuck? But this is not what it's supposed to be. And that's the worst thing that can happen to you.
That
if
fucking
you inject
sucks.
an oil that's not steroids or testosterone or you know that it has to be the purest pharmaceutical grade that you can get, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened to me. I've got fucked up. You know, you've seen my fucking, 12-inch scar on my fucking leg.
You were in Colombia. Those fuckers try to make everything generic.
But I mean, look at my scar.
Friends.
Look at my scar right now, okay?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
So that's how it started with bad substance that was not what it's supposed to be. That's how it got it going. I mean,
Yes. I injected it from a bad vial. All right, so we got a question here. Daniel asks, I'm vaping during contest prep. Is this destroying my progress? Have you been a nicotine user during contest prep?
Yeah, I can understand. I've been nicotine junkie also as well. So I've been there quitting tobacco and then just using a lot of vapes too. If you are doing cardio and eating well and lifting and high supplements, if it doesn't affect you, I mean, on the long run, you can do that for like 3 years in a row. But if you do it for 3 months and then stop and then do it again, I didn't have not that much problems with vaping, as a difference that with smoking a pack of cigarettes. I did notice that on my resistance on my cardio.
Okay,
so
but vaping was okay.
Yeah, yeah, you can get a lot of fun if you get into vaping with playing around with those nasty juice stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So did it help you during your cut? Because I mean, nicotine is a appetite suppressant.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that much smoke or vape, it will mess you up your stomach. You will have gastritis problems or so if you're with handling that, and it tastes fucking like candy. So if you're chugging that smoke like 24/7, it will fuck you up completely. You will fucking vomit, that's for sure. But if you're doing it slow, yes, it's good to chill and to calm craves and appetite. It's pretty cool. Like, but don't keep it like the modern day. How do they call it? For like the baby things that they use.
it will lower your test. I mean, we're using a lot of tests. I don't notice it on myself, but just don't make it a long-term vice.
All right. And we'll get to another question here. Drew asks, hey, I have a pinning question. I pin my glutes and usually the needle slides in like butter. But sometimes it feels like I'm pushing through layers of something, like muscle, and it pops through each layer. Would that be scar tissue? I've also had a few pins that just knot up really bad.
Yeah, I understand. Well, you gotta understand that pro bodybuilders get deep tissue massage very frequently.
Mm-hmm.
And you can run cycles after cycles and grams after grams on the same spots. You will eventually will build scar tissue and you will break.
Do you have scar tissue?
For example, I have always taken good care of myself with that. So, for example, I don't have shots on the shoulder that much. Or I have had like a couple to make a funny video or for an appearance or in a look one day. But if you're running constantly on your shoulder, you will damage it. Everybody knows that. You will break it. You will destroy it. Like the muscle fibers, the definition is not gonna be there if you keep injecting on the side delt.
Yeah.
That's the most horrible way to fuck up your shoulders is to inject the side delt.
Another one is the outside of the quad right there. That like fucks up the feathering.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to go high if you're going to inject the quad, not that low.
Yeah.
Sometimes I injected some kind of amino acids that they're supposed to be amino acids. They're good, and they have like B vitamin and electrolytes and amino acids supposedly, and they like hydrate the muscle. And with that, I experimented a little bit in the outer head of the tricep or in the feathers of the quads. It was good. It kind of helped me feel out a little bit, but it was not synthol. It was not side enhancement, but in my skinny ass, before insulin and growth hormone, it helped a lot on the first cycle.
How often do you rotate injection sites?
Of course,
like one week.
That's why I kept my cycles.
Is
I have been keeping my cycles very slow in the past because. I quit completely. I was completely fat and fluffy, so I knew that those muscles will be destroyed if I will start running grams on that fucking ass that couldn't even handle a chair for 2 hours or being stand up for 2 hours. So I had to build my strength along the way. Sometimes I was looking at the vial and the needle and I was like, damn, I'm craving so much or I would like so much, but I have no spot left. I don't know if you have ever felt that.
Yeah. Because you've taken enough
body.
Steroids and there's no more spot to take steroids anymore. Yeah.
Good
I've experienced that. Yeah,
exactly. So it's like any kind of health, but it's you need to have a coach for that. For example, you told me like glutes. Oh, we even got into the. Can you say it because
ventral glute?
Say it like an asshole.
The ventral glute.
Ventral glute.
Yeah, on the side of the hip.
Yeah, ventral glute, and it helps you if you want to get the Olympia type of look. Of the classic guys or the open guys or even the side glute or leg or hamstring, it all starts with also injecting your ventral glute, I believe, because there's no other way that. There's a lot of people also talk that there's not that much of local growth of the spot where you inject, and it doesn't have much to do. But if you only do your cycles on the glute, you will start looking like a freak.
Yeah, your glutes will definitely grow.
Over time.
Yeah.
So that's definitely not a good idea to only have two muscles that you will run your grams for life. So if we have to look at the guys that have done it for years and not have no side effects at all, because if you look at Dexter Jackson in his last years of competing, you won't be able. We won't dare to say he has a scar tissue. Or he's been messing too many injections on that part or that spot over there or that spot over there. So do a brilliant and proper way to do it that you have to find the result.
So how often do you hit the same spot? Like
I try to wait till it doesn't hurt that much.
Okay.
Till I can handle another gram. Sometimes I've made mistakes and I've didn't been able to walk because like my leg is giving up on me. Like I have had days that I couldn't even be able to stand up off my bed because I had my leg so sore and I have had a gram inside of there and it was just like with the new tissue building and with the ground falling over there, and I had like fever because of the pain. But sometimes the sacrifices that you have to make, and that was on my first cycles, of course. As long as you get stronger along the way, you will appreciate when it doesn't hurt also as well, because you get stronger with roids. You won't feel them that much as long as the way, and that is also when you're more prone to injury. If you're not feeling the grams and you inject the gram in your tricep, and then you go to pump your tricep like a motherfucker, you might pop it off at the gym. A lot of pro bodybuilders have had that problem. And it wasn't like that, but I popped the shoulder and I popped the knee. So the shoulder I fixed it without surgery. The knee does need surgery. I can bench 315 without surgery, and my shoulder is fine now. But I do need to fix my knee to go back to squatting 405 or 500 deadlift or all that good stuff to get the thickness and get all juicy back on track, so I can go to Olympia Amateur or Arnold Classic, whatever, Arnold Classic Amateur.
Yeah.
Any kind of contest.
So when you're pinning, this guy Drew, he was saying sometimes it slides in like butter, but sometimes it feels like he's pushing through layers and it pops.
Yeah.
Do you get that? I get that.
If you have that, you won't press the needle, and you immediately retreat.
That's how you do it?
Yeah, for sure. You will never. If it feels like butter, it's the right place. Or you know what? You also have to focus. Sometimes we're too. I noticed something. If you go through the rubber more than one time, that needle is destroyed. It will.
Oh yeah. That shit will hurt like a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you look at it microscopically, like a microscope on the tip after you've used it, it's like it's all like jagged and like twisted and shit. You know.
Exactly. For example, I've heard this YouTuber guy telling his audience that I quit. He was a pro bodybuilder at 25, and he had many infections along the way. And he was like, "Yeah, in bodybuilding, it's pretty common to get infections of your shots, because you don't have to be. Yeah, I know that you don't have to be all high-minded that I'm the guy that doesn't make mistakes, but you don't have to also make common or like." It's okay to make mistakes, like getting infected. If you're all sweaty at the gym and you don't even put alcohol and you don't clean the vial and you fucking inject and you infect yourself by doing that kind of like, that ain't common like that. I haven't had that, not one single time. Only one time I did a Triceps of windshield and I went into a pool and got a little bit red in the next day. So I checked my medicine, I stopped training, I put alcohol, I bathed myself. And thanks to God, it went out really quickly. But you have to be responsible with your injections, and I bet you won't get into problems with that. Exactly.
What about, do you ever have problems with, like when you inject the steroids, does it ever like come oozing back out? Like the oil comes oozing back out?
I have called like my coaches and sources and a lot of people, and even you, I think I've called, bro, am I wasting this expensive Trenbolone or growth hormone because I see blood coming out? And you told me when you push it in there, there's like a canal. There's like a tunnel.
A tunnel, yeah.
So yeah. So now what I do is you definitely don't have to contract any type of nothing while you're doing it. That will guarantee. But when you're doing, for example, if you're doing equipoise or you're doing anadrol and you're doing a gram of test and you're eating a lot of steak, you're gonna get into the weeks and you fill that with blood, and eventually a little bit of blood will come out after you get the injection. And if you're that juicy and you're like that, you just need to be even more careful and just have cotton with alcohol. Properly. I don't know how the word in English, but there's a word in Spanish. You use your turunga, you have it clean, and you immediately put like a doctor would do it.
Yeah. What I do right after I finish any injection, the first thing I do when the needle comes out is I take my fist and I slam it into the injection site, and then I go like grinding my fist a little bit into the injection site. No blood, no oil comes out. That solves the problem.
Well, yeah, that you've proven to be strong, so I know that you can immediately probably massage an area after it was injected. I have to wait probably a couple hours. But yeah.
Why?
Yeah, for example, one time I had a massage too soon of deep tissue and I had a lot of spotting pains.
They massaged the injection site.
Yeah, massage the injection site is the best way for it to release and not getting scar tissue and proper making it good again for receiving another shot. You know, you have to make room for it in a way. You have to prepare the tissue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you've done Tren Only before, and what do you think of that experience of using only
Tren City?
Tren, yeah.
Oh, that was a crazy spot because only bodybuilders that have this is not even discussed, and if you talk to a doctor, he will tell you that this doesn't exist and that you will die. But if we go into the dark, I mean, this might even be, I don't know if we might give this out for free to the audience, but if they've been sticking in to this point and they're to this audience that's only audio, I don't know if they might get this for
You say it.
like the Dorian type of back, like sometimes you can't get that look on the last 3 weeks because there's many type of protocols when you cut everything, like cold turkey, like even test, but still maintaining a good injectable. Sometimes Masteron, you told me that it will make you look flat if you run it too high, and only Masteron on the last days, and Winstrol is also not, but the Trenbolone, doing that, having that as an experience or as an experiment, well, the mental sharpness or the state of you can only live on chicken.
Did you feel like shit?
Sometimes I did feel like it was a lot hard, but I just felt like invincible or like I could handle it. It was nice, but on the last days it was pretty intense. Like I was feeling like kind of empty. Like I couldn't feel any type of emotion or anything.
Yeah, I know that feeling too. That's pretty common for like whenever you don't have testosterone in. Like if you're running any kind of cycle and there's like no testosterone, this like empty feeling. Like,
Man, I used to have a picture the look that we achieved by that last week running only premium Indian pharmaceutical type of grade Trenbolone acetate vial, and there were one glass vial each vial, so you had to pop it and use it. And I was using one vial each day the last day, so I used 7 vials in 7 days, and it feels good. It feels good to do that. You experiment with that if you can handle it, and if you've done it, you can understand how that feels.
Well, each guy's contest prep is different. You know, it's like your body reacts one way to, and you need the different meds in for pre-contest, and then another guy, he might need a completely different protocol.
Yeah,
so
that.
So
that's with carbs and with how you load up on those last days. How that is it called?
Carb loading.
Yeah.
So when you are dieting for the contest, because I remember, earlier we were talking and you were saying that your coach for gear or for training or something was saying like he's not going to give you a diet because he knows you already got that down. So the contest prep dieting that works for you, what is it?
Well, I just do this carb cycling stuff where I started having these low carb days, these medium and high carb days, but I don't like to have more than 2 low carb days on a row. And I started eating pretty clean. I started having cheat meals every 10 to 8 days. Sometimes when I can't handle no more after the workout, I have like a little bit of ice cream or cookie or whatever, and then go back to the rice and chicken. And I use no oil. I use only palm. I have a little bit less of yolks. I have like no cheese. I have like no sauces, like no sugar, and a lot of water, and just like start cleaning the calories, like also keeping the fats clean, not going too crazy on the fats, and just clean protein source and just the rice, pretty much pre-workout and post-workout. And
that's your carb,
oatmeal.
rice. Oatmeal?
Yeah, a little bit of oatmeal, a little bit of rice, and I didn't use that much carbs when I was cutting back then, but now I know.
And the protein that works for you during your cutting diet is eggs and chicken?
Yeah, that I've been resourceful that way. Those are one of my highest protein sources when I'm contest prepping, but also meat, also tuna. But when I'm going closer, tuna I use it a little bit or just like a last resource. But I use protein powder a lot also.
Oh yeah, whey protein. Yeah.
I try to cut it on the last days of the contest because even Dexter used to do that. He wasn't afraid to go on the Olympia thing, the meet and prep that they do, the expo. He wasn't afraid to go to the stand of the booth of the company that was sponsoring ship that time. And he said, well, I'm like 3 days out, 4 days out. I can have that protein shake because that will make me retain liquid or lose my lance or my definition. And that opinion will vary between coach and coach and between athlete and athlete because there's two people that we've seen nowadays on this influencer that they post the last contest prep days and they do have the protein intake on the last days. So that can be a different opinion between everybody, But from my first-hand experience and knowing my body, if I take the protein powder out and just start living on meat. On my first contest, I was in high school, bro, and I was natural, and I was eating just this meat made with water. I had no experience, remember, but my coach was also like somebody that had not that many experience. He was a guy from Colombia, and he was telling me these crazy approaches and stuff. And I used to follow him on everything, and I was so extreme on that. I was eating only tuna with lime at the recess. And I got so dry. I used to
tuna with lime.
I used to have a picture of that contest.
Tuna from a can.
Yeah.
With lime.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you ate.
Yeah, at recess in high school with 16 years old.
Did you say recess?
17. Recess of like that's how you call the break at school, recreo. That's how.
Okay.
Recess.
Yeah. And so, did you eat anything else on this diet, or it was just canned tuna?
Yeah, it was canned tuna, and it was the chicken that they used to sell at the pueblo, like a pollo, like $13 el pollo entero, y da medio pollo gratis. Have a chicken. You get a chicken, and then you get half chicken free, and it's supposed to be
1.5 chickens.
The chicken that is
the rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
Hey, so you would eat 1.5 chickens?
And I will eat primarily most of the time the breast with water. That's how I chug my breast when I can't handle it no more. I just like chew it a little bit and then immediately drink it with Diet Coke or water. I don't drink that much Diet Coke post-workout. I only drink Diet Coke if I have drank plenty of water.
Okay, yeah. You are a huge water drinker. You drink like 5 liters a day, or?
Yeah, I like to keep the water in. That's how you become a bodybuilder. You have to drink your water.
Yeah, well, a lot of golden era bodybuilders are big water drinkers. They're always big on that.
Yeah, man.
Like, I've seen some people make fun of the guys that carry a gallon water jug around the gym, but I actually think that's pretty cool. I'm like that. You know how some people be like, he's being trying to be a gym stereotype or something, right? Carrying the gallon jug around. I'm like, no, motherfucker, this guy's got his water going on.
Yeah, you just have to be clean with your recipient or your bottle or whatever, and clean it after you're done. Get a new one, and if you have to refill it once while you're at the gym, in the filter or whatever, it's probably to get good water source. Nowadays we have this crazy thing that they're trying to push us this dirty water, this tap water. So we have to be still.
Yeah, don't drink tap water.
That's for sure, bro. I've seen this fitness influencer guy. He's like 2 years younger than me. Every girl loves the fucking guy because he's like on a gram of trend. I'm kidding. He's dedicated, but he's obviously not natural. But he makes himself look like a natural, or that his diet. So
he's
that's
a fake
why
natty.
It's kind of like a fake natty, yeah, okay. But he started his day. I don't know where the fucking continent he is, but I can guarantee you, it's not safe to drink from the sink like that. I mean,
yeah, well, there's stuff in it. there's chemicals. A lot of times the government is putting fucking chemicals in the water.
I know that you won't die if you don't do it, but it's just that I don't know. I think that I'm those type of people that believes in the gut health and the third eye and the eating mushrooms sometimes.
Yes. If you drink that shit, it's gonna cover up your fucking third eye, right?
I mean, you have to beware also of the Teflon pans. You have to use only cast iron and no plastic containers type of on the microwave. I'm big into that stuff.
Oh, you are, yeah. Especially because,
but I do brush my teeth.
Probably from when you were a natty, you were like really all over that, right?
Boosting my test. That, for example, I read in a forum that I did some stupid shit like garlic boost your test, under that peanut boost your test. But I read in a forum the things that on boost your test or things that might crash your test. For example, I read in a forum when I was in college that every scent dispenser, like aromatizer that is in every place, that will lower your test. And I read that on a like a test forum or how to keep your test up. And there were a lot of things. Sometimes I think that even shampoo was mentioned there. Or I don't know what other...
Yeah, like fucking everything is lowering your testosterone. It's true. Like fucking everything for natural gas.
8 things that boost your test and 8 things that lower your test. It was like a men's health magazine ad, but on the internet that I read when I was in high school. Because I was concerned to get... Or like typical boy that wants to keep her test high.
Yeah.
Well, you're not actually injecting test. So yeah, where was I was going with that thing of the magazine on the test?
Well, you're talking about
the structure of hormones of the aromatizer. So it was just a thing that I read to be a big and strong when I was in high school. But nowadays that I'm 26 and I watch these doctors on these people, they do say that they cause hormonal disruptors.
Yeah, hormonal disruptors.
And if you watch at the office if you watch at the office people or the office guy that is 24/7 inhaling this stuff, you can probably confirm that he probably might have a lower.
All right, so that's going to be the last question for the podcast today. It was fun talking to you guys, and I'll be coming up with another episode for you guys real soon here. So make sure to go pick up Ultimate Guide to Roids, 109-page ebook by Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand. You know, if you just go to bodybuilderinthailand.com, it's I think it's the first article on the homepage where you can check it out and read like 20 pages. It's definitely worth it. It's my best content. You know, if you like the podcast, the book will blow you away.